Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of Unit 5. So this is we are wrapping everything up for the semester. We're almost there. So Unit 5 is about functions. So think about input and output, putting money into a vending machine and getting a soda or getting candy or getting chips. Input, output. Input is your effort, the output is the grade in the classroom and what your grade is in algebra. All right, so let's knock this out. So modeling functions, so real life situations right now. So if we're talking about independent and dependent is going to be a y, okay? And the independent is x. X does what it wants, and then y has to react to that. So x, you stay up late. The y, you're sleepy the next day. So f of x is a fancy way of saying y. So that is the dependent variable. And the independent variable is the x. The x determines what happens to the y. You put $5 into a vending machine, or are you putting $10 into the vending machine? And then what is your output? So again, what are your x values for your second one? So that will be your independent variables. So -6. So -6. And then I have 0, 2, and 5. That is your independent variable. Those are your independent numbers. Your dependent is 0, 4, 0, 0. So then you don't have to write it again and again and again. So that's your dependent. Okay, it's like what we talked about earlier with your domain and range. Your domain is your independent, your range is your dependent. We're saying the same thing over and over, but just in a different way. Okay, your g of x is a fancy way of saying your y value. Okay, so that is going to be your dependent variable. Depending on what you plug in will determine what happens to your g of x. And then your x, again, is your independent. Okay, let's talk about real life, y'all. Bagwell's DJ company is hired for a dance. He charges $125 per hour plus a $55 flat fee for his assistant. Okay, so we need to write a function. So we need to talk about hours. That's what will determine how much he gets. Okay, so the cost or the charge, and it's based on the number of hours. So it's $125 per hour plus $55. So without even playing one beat, he gets $55 for showing up for his assistant, and then $125 per hour. So the hours is the independent. How long are you going to work for? Okay? And then the cost or the charge of how much he's going to pay is the dependent. Let's talk about the money. So the hours is the independent. The dependent is the dollar bills, y'all. Okay? You buy a printer for $139 and you have to pay $15 for each ink cartridge. So whenever you see the word each, you want to attach a variable to it. Okay, so we can put that to a cartridge. And then you pay $139 for a printer. That's a flat fee. And then what is going to be the total? Okay, so the total is the independent. How many ink cartridges have you paid for? Okay, so that's the dependent. Hello. So sorry. So dependent is the total. How much is it going to cost? Well, it depends on how many ink cartridges you got. Okay, so the independent is the cartridge. And the dependent, again, is the dollar bills. How much is the total? Okay, so again, independent X, dependent Y. Moving on up. Okay, Jenna received an interest-free loan of $270 to buy a new TV. She plans to make monthly loan payments of $30 per month until the loan is paid off. Per month. So that is what is going to be attached to the M, is the 30 per month. What is the loan amount? It's $270. So we're going to subtract it because we want to pay this off, y'all. Let's go. So BP, please don't be too stressed when you see these extra letters. It's just a fancy way of saying y, okay? But we don't go out in the real world and say y equals 5x minus 20. Like, no one says that, okay? So we're just giving real life situations, y'all. So 270 minus 30, okay. And then payments, all right. So sorry, we're going to make it P instead of M. Hello, let's rock this out. So what is the value of B to the 0? Okay, so B to the 0. So I'm going to plug in 0 for P because it replaced it. It's like I'm substituting one in for the other. So 270 minus 30 times 0. So if I make 0 payments, I still owe $270 on my loan. It's like having a credit card. If you don't pay off the payments, you're in a world of hurt months later. Pay off your credit cards, kids. What is the domain and range of the function? Explain the limitations. Okay, so domain is your payments. Okay? They have to be positive numbers. Okay? Positive integers. You're not going to make negative payments, are you? I hope not. You can't make half ones. So positive whole numbers. Okay? B, the range. Okay. So positive numbers, the payments. So that's like the number of months you're going to have. So 0 to how long until it's paid off. So your range is how far you get off of, so the balance owed. Okay, so how much money is left over once you pay it. So you'll start at 270 and you'll keep going until you get to 0. All right, so let's make a payment from there. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what you're going to do is you're going to subtract 30 each time. So if I subtract 30, that will be 240. If I subtract 30, it's 210. If I subtract 30, it's 180. If I subtract 30, it's 150. Because I'm plugging in a function each time. If I plug in 2, again, it's that 270 is your starting point, and then you're going to times it by whatever your payment number is, okay? If you pay off 3 months, first you'll times this together, which would become 90, and then you would subtract that from 270, okay? So that's how you'd get 180. So input 3, output 180. Input 4, output 150. So if it's a subtraction symbol, we should be looking for a downhill curve. So months paid, so the months are the payments, because we made it into P, and then the side is the balance, so the cost, so the balance of how much you owe. Okay, so then we have 0, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the side, well, we're going to have to go by, ooh, it's going to be kind of tricky. We might have to go by like 200 or 50. So 50, 60, maybe we'll go by 50s. 50, 150, 200, 250, 300, and there we go. So we're going to kind of go a smidgen. So our loan starts between 250 and 300. And then we're going to go from 1 to 240. So it's going to be a little bit under 250. It might not be exact, but you do you. Number 3 to 180. Wait, 2 to 210. So sorry, I skipped that one. And then 3, we're going to do the best we can with a straight line. 4 is 150. Yahoo. 3 is 180, so in betweener. And then you're going to see this downward slope. Okay? Until we pay it off and we could keep going. Okay? So again, our input was how many months did you pay? Your output is how much money left you have on your loan, because you want to pay off your loan every month, so then you're in a better shape. All right, again, we're going to do the same song and dance, and it's going to be one more problem, and then we are done ski. So let's read this out. So John is looking to rent a new apartment. He finds one that it requires an initial deposit of $500 and costs $650 each month. So identify the dependent, independent, and any constants. So we're talking about that starting fee. So the constant is the initial deposit. So in order for you to get an apartment, you have to put down a deposit along with your months, right? So that is that extra amount, okay? And then remember, we are looking for each month or per month. So $650 times M. Or times, we'll put it times M. Oh, times R. Okay. Again, your lettering, don't be too stressed about that. Okay. So your dependent is the cost of rent. So what is the number? Okay. And then independent, what it is each month, right? How many months are you staying? Okay. And then again, your constant is 500. The constant is just, again, that starting fee. So like that DJ, $55 for their assistant, right? Or the initial fee, like how much did you start with, right? $270 was your starting amount. So what is that starting amount? Oh my gosh, all the real life, y'all. Okay, so let's make it fancy. So we're going to have 650 times R plus 500. So it's going to be plus. So we should be looking at an upward hill, a positive slope. So how much would it cost for John to live in his apartment for 2 years? Well, how many months is that, y'all? Okay, well, 2 times, there's 12 months out of the year, so we have 24. So we're going to plug 24 in for R, okay? So 2 years times 12. Okay, and that's 24. So I'm going to do 650 times 24 plus 500 and see how much that costs. So that's going to be 18. Let me see how much that will cost. Okay, so 650 times 24 plus 500, and that's going to cost $16,100. Okay? If John wants to bring his dog, he has to pay another $45 per month. So let's think about our constant. So our constant was $500, and now it's going to be $545. Okay? So now we have to write a new function for his dog. So CR equals 650R plus 545. Okay, awesome. Now let's rock this out. So 0. So I can't start with negative months. So first month, second month, third month, and fourth month. Okay? So how do we figure this out? So I'm going to be plugging it in. Is it with the doggy or not the doggy? I think it's with the dog. So we're going to do 650 times R plus 545. So if I'm going to be plugging it in, so timesing it by 0, what will I get? Timesing it by 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So figuring out rent, how are you going to pay? What are you expected to pay? All the roommates, all the math involved, y'all. So I'm plugging in each of these numbers on the inside, and I'm plugging it into the R, okay? So 650 times 0 plus 545 would be 545. Okay? All right, and then the next number, so times by 1, so I have 650 plus 545, and that's 1195. Times it by 2, so I can just add 650 to that, and that's 1845. Add 650 to that, 2495. The graph isn't going to be perfect. We're just going to do the best we possibly can and then add 650. All right, awesome. So we're probably going to go by 500s just to get there. So 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, and 3,500. So again, it's going to be an increasing situation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do the best we can. So months on the side. And then again, the cost of rent on this side. All right, so we're going to start at 0, 545 in between the 500 and the 1,000. Just do the best you possibly can when you're graphing. So 1, it's going to be close to 2,000 for this next. Oh wait, 1,100. Hello. So 1,100 is going to be right meow. And then 2 to 1,850. And then 3 to 2,495. And then 4 to 3,145. There we go. Straight line straight up. And there we go. Okay. So again, writing the equation. So what information do you have? What's independent? What's dependent? Make the equation. Then plug in the necessary information to solve. What is the domain and range? So domain and range, again, is the pieces of the puzzle. So domain is the number of months, right? That is how many months are you going to live there. The range is the cost or the money, the total cost. Okay? The total cost of what you have each time. So you start at 545 and then you will increase. You start at 0 and then you increase. So that's why we're only dealing with the positive area of the graph. All right? Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day.